So, we're going to dive into some of the highlights from the Token 2049 conference. But look, this isn't just about crypto. It's about something much, much bigger. We're talking about a future where the most advanced, mind-blowing technology isn't locked away in some lab, it's being put right into the hands of, well, everyone.
And this quote, it absolutely nails the core idea we're exploring today. Those old walls are just crumbling. Innovation isn't just for massive corporations anymore. It's happening in garages, it's happening in dorm rooms, it's happening in online communities all over the world. So let's break down exactly how.
All right, so where does a revolution like this even begin? Well, every new world needs a front door, right? In the crypto space, that front door has always been the digital wallet. And let's be honest, for years, they've been kind of clunky, a little intimidating for newcomers. But that is changing, and it's changing fast. We're seeing a total rethink of how people take that very first step into this whole ecosystem.
Now, what's so interesting here is the journey. Take the Lace wallet. Version 1 was a solid foundation, a powerful tool, but pretty niche. It was a desktop extension, and it only worked for the Cardano blockchain. Now look at version 2. This is built for the real world. We're talking mobile first because that's where we all live. It's multi-chain, so it can handle stuff like Bitcoin and the new privacy-focused Midnight network. And the best part? You can set it up in seconds, not sit through a 10-minute ordeal.
This whole design philosophy is completely centered on you. The goal is to make the experience feel so intuitive you don't even have to think about it. The developers even talked about adding haptics, that little buzz when a transaction goes through, to give you what they called a dopamine hit. It's just satisfying. So whether you want a simple, clean view of your assets or you're a power user who wants to tweak every little detail, it's like a choose-your-own-adventure for your finances.
And this is absolutely crucial. This isn't being built in some closed-off corporate silo. No way. Lace is open source. That means anyone can look at the code, and more importantly, they can help shape its future. If you see a feature that's missing and you think, hey, I wish it did this, you can actually help build it. You go from being just a passive user to an active co-creator. That's a huge shift.
And that idea of co-creation, of building together, it doesn't just stop with software. I mean, having accessible tools is only half the battle, right? You also need accessible knowledge. And that is exactly the problem that the Mastering Cardano project is setting out to solve.
You've got to forget about that dusty old textbook you had in college. This thing is designed to be a living, breathing resource. So, as the Cardano platform evolves, guess what? The book evolves right along with it. New features, new code, new best practices, it's all added in real time, and a lot of the time it's added by the community itself.
And here's what's so smart about it. It is not a one-size-fits-all manual. It's built with these different learning paths. So are you a brand new user who just wants to figure out how to set up a wallet? Cool, there's a path for you. Are you a developer who needs to see smart contract examples? Boom, jump right in. Or maybe you're just fascinated by the governance side of things. It lets you go straight to what matters to you. And, well, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The book isn't just about a decentralized system, it's built like one. It's a massive group effort that actually lives and breathes the very philosophy it's trying to teach. And getting involved is surprisingly simple. You don't have to be some coding genius. Seriously, you can just fix a typo, suggest a new section you think is missing, or pop into the Discord and join a discussion. They're even crowdsourcing translations to bring this knowledge to literally everyone on the planet.
Okay, so we've got easier tools, we've got more accessible knowledge, but what happens when you smash those two things together out in the real world? Well, at Token 2049, we saw a pretty brilliant example of this tech actually bridging that gap between the digital and the physical. Just imagine this for a second. You're walking around a conference, you're interacting with different booths, and you're earning digital points as you go. Then you walk up to a vending machine, pull out your phone, and using just your web browser, no special app to download, you instantly redeem those points for a real physical prize. I mean, that's exactly what they did.
So how on earth did they make it so fast and seamless? Well, they use a layer 2 solution called Hydra, and it makes this really clever trade-off. For the length of the event, it dials back the decentralization a little bit to get this massive boost in speed and scale. But, and this is key, it still inherits its core security from the main Cardano blockchain. It's kind of the perfect solution for a high-traffic, short-term event like this.
And the progress here is, well, it's staggering. Since the last time they showed this off, the team managed to get a 10-fold performance increase. Just think about that. They made it 10 times better in only 2 months, just by redesigning the ledger. That shows you how incredibly fast this tech is maturing. Okay, so we've talked wallets, we've talked books. Now let's get a little weird. We're going to take this whole idea of accessibility to its most mind-bending conclusion. We've seen it change finance, sure, but what about frontier science? What happens when technologies that used to need a university lab become DIY projects you can build in your garage?
I mean, just look at this progression. Back in the 70s, if you wanted to read brainwaves with an EEG, you needed a whole room full of equipment and a team of scientists. Today, you can buy the core sensors online for just a few bucks. The barrier to entry has completely and utterly collapsed.
And this quote just drives the point home perfectly. A small team of college students with zero prior experience in neurotechnology built a working brain-computer interface prototype, and they did it for less than $500. That right there is what democratizing the bleeding edge actually looks like.
And this whole field is rocketing off in two wild directions at once. On one side, you've got brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, which are all about reading our brain activity. But then on the other side, you have something called organoid intelligence, where ethically harvested brain cells are grown on a sensor dish. It's a totally new form of biological computing where the brain is literally inside the computer, and it's already outperforming traditional AI on certain tasks. Just wild.
So, what does a user-friendly wallet, a community-written book, a real-world vending machine, and a brain in a dish actually have in common? I know, it sounds like the setup to a strange joke, but there's a really powerful connecting thread here.
Every single one of these projects is driven by the same core ideas. They're built for people, not just for experts. They invite everyone to the table with an open source spirit. They are all fundamentally about tearing down barriers. And they're focused on turning complex theories into things you can actually use and touch. Altogether, these threads create a kind of innovation flywheel. The easier it is to use, the more people contribute, which makes it even better, and the cycle just accelerates.
And that's really the big takeaway. What we're seeing is a fundamental shift. When you make powerful technology easy to use, easy to learn, and easy to build with, you completely change the answer to the question, who gets to innovate? The engine of progress is no longer exclusivity, it's accessibility.
And that leaves us with one heck of a question. When the distance between a wild idea and actually building it becomes this short, the future gets very interesting, very, very quickly. What problems will we solve? What new worlds will we create? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.